here yet. So.
Great. Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order, 5 p.m. Before we get started, I want to acknowledge that the land on which we gather is Treaty 2 land, traditional territory of Anishinaabe, Cree, Ojibwe, Assiniboine, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and homeland of the Métis Nation. We affirm our commitment to moving forward in partnership with Indigenous communities in a spirit of collaboration and reconciliation. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lachlan and seconded by Councillor Bellemare, be it resolved that we accept the regular council meeting agenda as presented. I call for the question. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Ray, be it resolved that we waive the reading and accept and approve the minutes from our regular council meeting from January the 20th. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lachlan, whereas the Municipal Act, Section 160, bracket 2. We don't need this one because we're here? Okay. Moving on, moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Ray, be it resolved that we now adjourn to hear the public hearing as scheduled. All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. We'll now proceed with the public hearing for Bylaw 02-2025, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin to authorize the expenditure and borrowing of funds for the lagoon expansion and upgrade as a local improvement. I'd like to call on the city manager to speak in favor of this resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So the lagoon expansion and upgrade has been a project that we've needed to do for, I think, almost the better part of 10 years. And every year it has been getting more and more required, if I can say it that way. And it was several years ago, maybe 2021, we finally got approval for a grant. So the project is approximately $20 million, and we got $9.135 million from the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program grant, and that is federal and provincial money. The rest of the money to make up the $20 million, we're taking $508,000 out of our gas tax reserve, $971,000. Did I say 508,000? 508 million. 508,000 out of the gas tax reserve, 971,000 out of our water and sewer reserve, which leaves just over $9 million to borrow. So this particular public hearing, this first one, is for the approval of borrowing $4,692,500, and that would be repaid through taxation under a local improvement.
Thank you. Any member of council have questions or comments regarding this resolution? Nope. There's no one here present. Sean doesn't have any questions right now, I'm assuming. So there are no representations or presentations from the public. So the public hearing is now completed. The next item, we'll now proceed with the next public hearing for Bylaw 03-2025, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin, to authorize the expenditure and borrowing of funds for the lagoon expansion and upgrade through a utility debenture surcharge repayment. And again, I call on the city manager to say a few words about this part of the bylaw.
So to be clear, this is borrowing for the same project. As I said, just over $9 million to borrow, half of it through the local improvement, which was the last public hearing. This one is $4,692,500 to be repaid, to be borrowed, to be repaid through utility rates on the sewer charges.
Thank you for that. Is there, and again, questions or comments from any member of council about this bylaw? Seeing none, we have no representatives from the public or anyone else that wishes to speak to it. So the representations regarding this public hearing are now complete. So moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Daly. Be it resolved that council now reconvenes to the regular council meeting. All in favor? Opposed? None carried. Move to the consent agenda. A couple of items today in the consent agenda. We have a couple of outstanding receivable accounts that are being added to taxes. Two, to be specific, 00-12400 in the amount of $201.07, and that's regarding weed control. And again, 007-4400, $268.11, also due to unpaid weed control costs, and those are recommended by the Director of Finance and our tax clerk. We have a couple of filing items. The end of 2024 meeting minutes from the Dauphin Rail Museum, which was held on January the 20th. We had some information from Parks Canada regarding the zebra mussel update at Clear Lake, and the Age-Friendly Manitoba newsletter from January of 2025. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Be resolved that all items listed and read under item 5, the consent agenda, be approved and form part of these minutes. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be resolved that council accepts as information the corporate report from the city manager for January. Any questions or comments regarding Charlotte's report from members of council? Seeing none, call for the question. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Daly. Be resolved that we accept as information the corporate report for today's meeting from the Deputy City Manager. And I'll call Lisa. Is there anything in that report that you wanted to highlight for council?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Bosiak. Just quickly, I just wanted to note that one of the requirements of Health Canada's funding through their Radon Outreach Contribution Program was the development of a Radon Action Plan for Dauphin, and I have a draft Radon Action Plan ready for Council's review later this evening before it goes to the regular council meeting on February 24th for approval. And a tremendous amount of research and thought and preparation went into the development of this plan, and it will hopefully serve as a model for other municipalities to adopt and follow, and hopefully ignite further action at the provincial and federal levels to support radon action in our local communities. I've also already had a senior policy analyst from Manitoba Health has already reached out to me to ask for a copy of our plan, so to help her to inform her policy recommendations. So it looks like our efforts are already having an impact, and that's very rewarding. Thank you.
Any questions? Yeah, Councillor Bellemare.
Yes, this is actually kind of a library question, but you might know the answer. So they have radon detectors there, and considering that you had like 100 people out at that session, I imagine that they flew off the shelves. So do you know, like, how long would those be signed out for?
So I had a radon information session on December 3rd, and we had over 100 people there. That was the time that we launched the 100 free test kit giveaway. We gave away all 100 test kits, and those are the AlphaTrack test kits that get placed in the home for 3 months. And so I sent out reminders to the people who receive those kits to remind them to actually put them out and register them online. And also we had 50 kits as well on hand here to distribute to all of our facilities. So I enlisted the support of the safety manager to place radon test kits at all of our facilities that have staff spending any time there. So all of our City Hall, the fire station, the library, Watson Arts Center, the utility, water treatment plant, waste disposal site. So those will also sit there for 3 months, and then we'll have the results from Radonova, which will indicate whether we have radon above the 200 becquerels per cubic meter at those facilities.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Call for the question, and all in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Be resolved that finance accounts, having been examined by council, be hereby authorized and approved as follows. We had 26 checks in the recent check run for a total of $287,007.82. We had 3 electronic fund transfers for a total of $17,320.23. There were no voided checks in the current range, nor in the past range, and there were no other electronic payments. Questions or comments regarding
I do.
these reports? Councillor Bellemare?
I do have one. So there were a couple of people that got refunds for their animal licensing. And so I was checking with Scott Carr about that. And he was saying that, well, Lisa probably wants to speak to this too, but the people had got their animals fixed. So then they were able to get a refund. So it's good to see that animals are getting fixed so that it just helps keep the population down.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Call for the question. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Deputy Mayor Lachlan. Whereas the city recognizes the value in funding capital purchases that address critical operational DRS, Dauphin Rec Services needs, and appreciates the credit union place curling rink as an important recreational asset. Be it resolved that Council accepts this information, correspondence dated January 27th from Ryan Vanderhayden, the General Manager at Dauphin Rec Services, requesting approval to purchase a curling rink chiller replacement at an estimated cost of $220,000 plus applicable taxes, and noting the critical need to expedite the ordering of the chiller given the estimated lead time for procurement and installation. Further be resolved that Council recognizes the need to order a curling rink chiller replacement as soon as possible to ensure timely delivery and installation before the next curling season, and approves the purchase of a chiller for a cost of $220,000 plus taxes, with funds to be drawn from the Recreation and Active Living Reserve. Questions or comments regarding this resolution? Question, Councillor Sobring.
Yeah, just one question. I got the notes from DRS, and is this a request for just the chiller? Because I just noted that there's a lot of different projects. Is this all bundled together? Is this just the first ask?
This is the first ask. Timing was more crucial for this one than the other ones, just to get it ordered, because there's a 4-month lead time to get it. And so we wanted to order it, get it, and have it installed to make sure that we don't have any concerns with next season.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. I just thought it was hopefully not one of those omnibus bills where you just bury a bunch of repairs in there. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Call for the question then. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Lachlan, seconded by Councillor Ray. Whereas the City of Dauphin Bylaw 3323, which is the standards for mobile homes, only provides for mobile homes not exceeding 10 years of age, be it resolved that Council accepts as information correspondence dated January 21st from Len Lundstedt, owner of Triangle Mobile Home Park, requesting approval to move a mobile home older than 10 years to lot number 66 at 74 Triangle Road. Further be resolved that Council accepts this information, a memo dated January 22nd of this year from our building inspector reviewing the application and recommending the Council approves the application to move in a 2000-year mobile home with the following conditions. And further be resolved that Council approves the request from Len Lundstedt to move in this mobile home to number 66, 74 Triangle Road with these conditions: that the owner obtains a development permit from the City of Dauphin for a moved-in mobile home, the cost of the permit being $150, that the owner ensures the site for the mobile home complies with CSA standard Z240.10.1-94, which is related to site preparation, foundation, and anchorage of mobile homes, that the owner does not allow any structural connections for additions, that the mobile home park owner must sign the permit and approve the move-in of the used mobile home, and when the mobile home is moved onto the site and upon inspection, if the mobile home appears to be modified, a provincial safety standards inspection will be required to certify the home. The owner will be referred to correct any deficiencies discovered to allow the mobile home to stay in the mobile home park. Any questions or comments regarding this resolution? Seeing none, call for the question. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Daly. Be resolved that council accepts as information correspondence dated January the 8th from Dennis Forbes, President, Fort Dauphin Museum, requesting financial support from the city in the amount of their costs and expenses for year 2025. Further be resolved that council forwards the funding request to the city's 2025 budget deliberations for consideration. Questions or comments regarding resolution from museum? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be resolved that council accepts as information correspondence dated January 23rd of this year from Lindsay Kyle, Mamawi Park Committee member, requesting the city to cover the full costs associated with the installation of a drainage system that connects to the city's storm system. Further be resolved that council forwards this request to the city's 2025 budget deliberations for consideration. Any questions or comments regarding this resolution? All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Councillor Daly. Whereas the Noxious Weeds Act requires every municipality to be responsible for the inspection and enforcement of the noxious weeds in their respective municipalities, and whereas the Noxious Weed Act requires every municipality to appoint by resolution a noxious weed inspector each year for a term of 12 months beginning on March the 1st, be resolved that council authorizes the appointment of Edward Simpson, Park Lead Hand, Dauphin Rec Services, and David McInnes, Bylaw Enforcement Officer, City of Dauphin, as noxious weed inspectors for the city as per the Noxious Weed Act for the period ending February the 28th, 2026. Further be resolved that administration forwards the inspectors' names and a copy of the appointment to the Manitoba Primary Agriculture Branch. Questions or comments? Call for the question. All in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Sobering, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin. Whereas in 2021, the council approved an active transport strategy for the city, which resulted in the development of multi-use pathways along Mountain Road and First Avenue Southeast. Be it resolved that council accepts as information a memo dated February 3rd from the Director of Public Works, noting that in consultation with Urban Systems, the city proposes to submit an application to the National Active Transport Fund for a 60-40% cost-shared grant to support construction to extend the First Avenue Southeast Trail westerly and to create an active transportation bridge and trail expansion to connect the existing network to the west side of Dauphin. Further be it resolved that council supports the expansion of Dauphin's active transport network to connect with the west side of our community and authorizes submission of the application to the National Active Transport Fund for the grant to make this project possible. Any questions or comments regarding this application? Councillor Soap?
Yeah, I remember the initial application. It was quite a long time ago and everyone was pretty optimistic, but I believe when they first introduced it, it was wildly oversubscribed. And I think that probably by the time our letter got dropped in the mailbox, the money had been dispersed already. So I'm pretty hopeful for this one. I'm not sure if Mike has any inside scoop on if there is more funds and how they're dispersing it. But I guess if he did, that'd be he probably wouldn't be here working. He'd be buying lotto tickets or something. But anyways, I think it's a very worthwhile project. It was really well thought out. It was just unfortunate we weren't successful in round one. So
Maybe if I can comment, probably an asset that we have this time is to have Urban Systems, their experience from other organizations who got it. So they're kind of leading us in a direction to help us apply with whether it's part of the project or key words or key phrases or key concepts that have already been approved. Make sure that we have those in our application this time.
Anyone else? Nope. Good. Okay, great. Call for the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Ray. Be resolved that bylaw 01/2025, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin, to authorize the creation of a development reserve fund, be now read a second time. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion is carried. And moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Sobering, be it resolved that bylaw 01/2025, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin, to authorize the creation of a development reserve fund be now read a third time and be signed and sealed by the mayor and the city manager. Because this is the third reading, we need a recorded vote, so we'll just go around the table. Councillor Sobering, aye. Councillor Loughlin, Councillor Sticilo.
Yep.
Thank you. Councillor Bellemare. Aye. Aye. Councillor Ray and Councillor Daly. And of course, I'm in favor of this, so motion is carried unanimously. Thank you. Anyone want to speak to this? I'm looking at Councillor Sobering.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, guys. I know we're not going to break the record tonight for speed, but I think we're on the right track with this one as far as taking a little more active role in development. And I believe I just was speaking to somebody today about another community that's already taking this tact and going into whatever they see as their community's needs and just being really, really aggressive and just making sure their community grows in the way they want and kind of fill those gaps. So I think this is going to be a great asset going forward. So.
Thank you. Next resolution, moved by Councillor Daly, seconded by Councillor Sobering, be resolved that bylaw 02/2025, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin, to authorize the expenditure and borrowing of funds for the lagoon expansion and upgrade as a local improvement, be now read a first time. Call for the question and then all in favor? Anyone opposed? That motion is carried. Moved by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Ray, be resolved that bylaw 03/2025, being a bylaw of the City of Dauphin, to authorize the expenditure and borrowing of funds for the lagoon expansion and upgrade through the utility debenture surcharge repayment process be now read a first time. All in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Sobering, be resolved that council accepts as information the following invitation, and that's for the Dauphin Fire Department Firefighters Appreciation Dinner on March the 5th. Further be resolved that all expenses related to council and senior management attending this event be borne by the City of Dauphin. Questions or comments? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, be resolved that we accept as information the following community event, and that's the Manitoba Chimney Swift Initiative, which has a presentation on February the 3rd, which tonight, 7 o'clock at the library. Call for the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. And moved by Councillor Sobering and seconded by Councillor Bellemare, we resolve that we now accept as information the councillor reports for the regular meeting for tonight. And we'll start on my right. If Councillor Daly is so prepared, we'll let him get things started.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. January 20th, I attended our last regular council meeting. During that week, January 21st, 23rd, and 24th, not council work, but I attended 3 different meetings for Assiniboine College as part of being on the board there. And of course, being on council, my priority is to make sure our college campus is getting as much as we can and not being forgotten by Brandon. Very good meetings, lots of good planning going on, but as you all know, based on new immigration rules, colleges and universities are getting really financially strapped just because of the lack of immigrant revenue streams. So we're working hard on trying to figure out how to make that work in everybody's favor. January 27th, I met with some food bank representatives on future planning and locations for the food bank when they eventually move out of Parkline Crossing. January 30th, I met with City Manager Charlotte Griffiths and Deputy City Manager Lisa Gadet with Superintendent Lee Fortin of the RCMP about recruiting, contract policing, and communications going forward with respect to the amount of police in Canada. On January 31st, met with DNRC Executive Director Amanda Novak and Board Member Ron Marlin, just covering off communication improvements and plans for that organization going forward. And that's my report.
Thank you, Councillor Daly. Councillor Ray.
Thank you, Mayor Boziak. On the 21st, I attended our last regular council meeting. January 29th, I attended the Community Safety Wellbeing Communities of Practice Zoom meeting. And that was about it for the last couple of weeks for me. Just a reminder, the upcoming Coldest Night of the Year event hosted by the Dauphin Friendship Center will be held on February 22nd. And you can go online and make a donation to help support those in need in our community. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare.
Thank you. I know that the chimney swifts are on the library at 7 o'clock tonight because we have chimney swifts in the Watson, and they're nesting there every spring. And that impacted the repointing of the bricks there because the contractor, when he was doing his work, made sure that he didn't do it during nesting season so that the birds, which are protected by the province, would not be harmed by that. So it's kind of a Watson story, and it's a library story and a bird story. So for council work, I tried to come to the meeting on the 20th, and I fell and hit my head and ended up in the hospital, but I was here in spirit. And on the 22nd, I had a Riverside Cemetery meeting, the 27th Community Safety and Wellbeing check-in, and on the 28th, the Watson Board meeting. With regard to community events, the Mama-Wee Park logo contest has just closed, and we received several entries. And we're meeting later this month to make a decision, so stay tuned. And the recent King's Ukrainian Night was excellent, with sold-out attendance, and this weekend the Rangers are hosting theirs, which is sponsored by Ruff's Furniture, and tickets are only $5. And Coldest Night of the Year, Councillor Ray already mentioned that. I'm participating again if you want to sponsor myself or anybody else, or if you want to join the fun and walk. And Friendship Center makes a good meal, and it's a great cause, raising money for that hot lunch program for our students in our schools. Please be involved. And also, we've already mentioned that the policy on radon, the file that Lisa, Deputy City Manager Lisa, worked on. I mean, that's pretty cool that the province is asking to borrow your work so that it can help guide their work. So Dauphin is leading the way again, and thank you, Lisa, for your work on that.
Thank you, Councillor Bellemare. Councillor Stakilo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For myself, pretty light the past couple of weeks. Just had the regular council meeting back on the 20th, and there was no other committees or boards that were meeting during this short period. So that does it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Loughlin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's much the same for myself, like Councillor Stakilo, just that regular council meeting on the 20th. I did want to mention, though, thanks to everyone for coming out to the Dauphin Kings Ukrainian Night. And as Councillor Bellemare mentioned, the Rangers one is this Saturday. So looking forward to that as well. I hear Ryan Rawlick has some interesting costumes to debut that evening, but I won't give it away. That ends my report.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Loughlin, for dropping the hint. And Councillor Sobring.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. On the 20th, I attended the regular meeting here at City Hall. I think I hit the trifecta. I did the economic development, cemetery, and handyvan meeting since our last. But more excitingly, I took a out-of-province trip to Regina, Saskatchewan with our economic development officer, Martine. And it was the Western Canadian Economic Forum. So it basically is the Western provinces, BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. And the big topics were tariffs, Trump, and internal trade. And just kind of a refresher on what's happening in each of our Western provinces. So not going to go into too much detail. I'll present a full report to council at a later date. But excellent guest speaker, Cadmus Delorme. He did a presentation on reconciliation and its relevance, and it was a very gifted speaker, very well done. Premier Scott Moe had some remarks basically on the health and welfare of Saskatchewan, and there's a very hot economy right now, and with lots of investment in potash specifically, and the Jansen mine. And then there's Chuck Davidson from Chamber of Commerce Manitoba was there, kind of profiling our province and some of the gains. And it was just kind of a general consensus that at this time of uncertainty with the U.S., we really need to focus on national unity and more specifically, removing interprovincial trade barriers. I know it gets talked about all the time, and maybe this is the moment for Canada to kind of remember that we're not a whole bunch of competing provinces, but a confederation. The was a pretty positive note. But there's I think as far as how that relates to the city of Dauphin, it's just a good opportunity sometimes to step out of the forest for the trees. We keep looking at our own small city, and we kind of tend to get wrapped up in our own issues and events, and then sometimes you forget that there's a larger world out there, and it's very humbling to see what other provinces are doing. And kind of compared to Manitoba, I feel like we got a little bit of catching up to do. So I kind of came out of there energized and kind of ready to, make our mark, and especially with our own local economy and industry, but as related to trading outside of our little area. So yeah, it was really well delivered and done, and that ends my report.
Thank you. I'll just wrap by saying we put out a short little note today about, just the circumstances with the Canada-U.S. relationships and the role that the provinces is taking in that, and then the roles that municipalities may or may not take. There was some information shared through the Federation of Canadian Municipalities, and AMM was talking a little bit about some stuff, and I just wanted to, let folks know that I'm very impressed with the city. Our administration and council over the first couple of years of our administration, and just being able to work together and think progressively and to work very positively together. And I think that has sort of prepared us a little bit for this sort of potential circumstance right now. And I think the word I like to use is resiliency, and the ability to be prepared and not be surprised, even though, as you see crazy stuff happening all around the world. And it's just, to be level-headed and to have decent problem-solving skills, and to determine the right course forward for us as a very small municipality in a very big world. But just to know that I'm feeling extremely confident of the capacity of this council and our senior management to sort of steer us in the direction that we need to go as a community in these uncertain times. And so that's basically just all I wanted to say about what's currently going on out there, and that I think that we're really well positioned just with our ability to think and share and discuss issues of common concern, and to develop strategies moving forward. So with that, I'd like to call for the question. All in favor of accepting the reports from council? Anyone opposed? Seeing none, motion is carried. And 5:35 p.m., moved by Councillor Ray, seconded by Deputy Mayor Loughlin, be resolved that council meeting be recessed. All in